everyone, how's it going? I'm Jules Leyhe. Welcome to Just Riffin, a show where we talk about techniques, tones, and get tips from some of my favorite guitar players on the scene today. In today's video, we're going to focus on one of my all-time favorites, and I'm sure one of your favorites, the one and only Jimi Hendrix. I'm here with my special guest, Emanuel Hedberg. Emanuel is one of the great guys on social media these days. You'll see him playing just such great content. He has so many, just a lot of great playing on his page. I love all the camera angles. I love his tones. I just love his playing. So it's an honor to have Emanuel here with us today. How are you doing, man? Great to see you.
Thanks for taking me in. I'm good.
Awesome.
And you?
Well,
You're good?
Yeah, I'm doing well. You know, it's funny. I've got so I'm in a pretty brand new studio space right now. This is kind of a new space for folks who have seen my videos. There's been a lot going on kind of in the works. I have a Jimi Hendrix Masterclass course actually that is just coming out right now. So that's very exciting and something that I just want to support with, you know, having guys like you on to talk about the man and to talk about his techniques. And so, you know, that's one of the things I've got going on. And just before we hop into the video, I want to make sure that everybody checks out Emanuel's Patreon page. He has a lot of great lessons, a lot of just amazing, you know, stuff on there that you are really going to want to check out. And if you're a Strat player, you know, Emanuel's he's like one of the great Strat guys out there today, in my opinion anyway. So yeah, just wanted to send you guys over to Emanuel's Patreon because he's got a lot of great stuff over there. And now let me crack the egg wide open with this first question. Before we actually start playing some licks and getting into, you know, that side of things, I'm just curious how Jimi Hendrix has impacted your life. How has he been a part of your life?
Well, I think it's been part mostly all the time, I guess. Not in the specific beginning when I started playing guitar, but yeah, he pretty quickly came into the picture, you know, for obvious reasons. I started listening to like Nirvana actually, so Kurt Cobain I wouldn't play guitar if it weren't for Kurt Cobain actually.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of that kind of music also, but yeah, then I started to listen to more heavy stuff like Pantera, Metallica, and then of course Jimi Hendrix, and then more bluesy stuff, and yeah. But EMA is always there, you know. Always.
Yeah, and as such a godfather of the sort of modern rock and blues, and just like how somebody bends a string or shreds, you know, really Jimmy did set up guys like even like Dimebag Darrell and Pantera and everything. Of course, there's some influence from Jimmy, which is awesome and kind of crazy. But
yeah, exactly. I mean, this is having people say this, but it needs to be said again. You know, he changed everything. So yeah, totally changed how you are on the stage and how you play and everything. Yeah. So he deserves all the credit he gets.
Agreed. And you know, I'm curious if you can pick, so of the kind of big three studio records, that being Are You Experienced, Axis Bold as Love, and Electric Ladyland. Yeah. Could you pick a tune off of each one of those that's kind of like your favorite, or like a reason that you love each one? And maybe I'd love to kind of hear what you think about each record, if there's like a favorite one for a certain reason, or, you know.
Yeah, I guess I have two. I mean, all those records are great. My favorites would be Electric Ladyland. That I've been listening to. You can't listen to that too much, but yeah, I've really been digging into that album. That was also the first album I think I heard. And it just blew me away. Then I guess if Band of Gypsies, can I say that? You know?
Oh yeah, that's my favorite personally. Yeah, I know. I said you know, studio records, but no. I mean, since we're talking about it, that to me is my personal favorite.
Yeah, and I can understand it because the level of that performance, the whole band, it's another level. I get blown away every time I listened to that, and I mean, there's a lot of live videos of Jimi Hendrix, and I can understand that some people argue that he was sloppy and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of drugs. It's live, but I think that performance on the Band of Gypsies, it's just you can really hear. There you can hear his top performance. It's amazing.
Agreed, man. Agreed. What about between Access Bold as Love and Are You Experience? Are there, favorite? Because I kind of feel the same way about, like, I prefer, like, Electric Ladyland's my favorite too.
Yeah.
But then there are these, I'm listening to, like, If 6 Was 9, and it's like, wow, those tones, the song, Spanish Castle Man. It's like, wow, this is just an incredible catalog here. I mean, how can you pick? It really is kind of apples and oranges at some point. But are there some tunes off of those first two that, like, stick with you more than others? Or
I think I can't pick one. It's so hard. I think those two albums are kind of like, they are amazing, but they're at the same place for me, I guess. So first we have Electric Ladyland and Band of Gypsies, and then we have those two records. I can't pick a song. That's too hard.
Yeah, it's hard. I know, and it's okay. It's so I can't really either. But something about those records, actually, to me, this is an important thing, and just considering we're in the year 2025 now, when those were made in 1967, 1968. There's this different experience of playing a record and listening to a record. You don't dial in one song on Spotify and then go, oh, that's Jimi Hendrix? Huh, well, I didn't. You place the needle on the record and listen to the whole thing, and it's this experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that, to me, is one of the things that I love about those records, too, is that today it's kind of funny. We're going, oh, manic depression. Well, let me just listen to that song for 3 minutes. It's like, no, that needs to come in the album order that it was intended, and that's sort of all right.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It's a shame that I don't. That's something that's become lost. You could say through the years. I myself don't do that anymore, which is a shame. I remember before Spotify and everything, I had CDs. And just you put in the CD and you listen from the first song to the last song. I remember when I was listening to like jazz. It's a long time I listened to jazz. My favorite album, or what's it called? I can't remember the name, but it's like an hour-long album, And I mean, you don't do that anymore. Listen to a 1 hour album from the start to the end.
Right.
Yeah, that's something that's been lost, I guess. It's
and
a shame.
Along those lines too, something that struck me when I was listening to, I think it was Band of Gypsies recently, and Jimmy's like tuning in between songs, and he says a couple words to the audience, and I just was amazed by how quiet the audience was. Nobody's checking their Twitter. Nobody's checking nobody's, and sure, maybe they're stoned or they're tripping or whatever.
Yeah.
But they were silent, and they were, in a way, they were just way more present because there's no email to check on your friggin' phone and all that stuff. And so just
exactly.
between, how music was listened to and taken in by the crowd, both at home in this very, well, we're going to listen to the whole thing sort of way. And then, tripping or not, I'm here and I'm shut up listening to Jimi Hendrix. Like, those sorts of things are just kind of, I feel very aware of those when I'm listening to some of those recordings, and just, try to, like, I was born in 1990, so what do I know about that stuff aside from what I'm observing? But, it's just kind of interesting to me. That's definitely a part of the whole thing is, like, I love some of those tunes. I mean, Electric Ladyland, some of those wild creative tunes in the kind of like when you're getting towards the end of like Daydreaming, right? It's like, wow, there's some incredibly creative art that's happening in those records. It's, wow.
What's I don't remember all the names of the songs now. What's the song something with mermaid.
Oh yeah, a mermaid I once was, or something, right?
Yeah. I don't know how many times I've been listening to that song. It's freaking amazing. I don't know. I remember how long it is. It's like an 8-minute jam or something. Just unbelievable.
And the Voodoo Child. You know,
Yeah,
Voodoo
the first.
Child.
Exactly, the first one. I mean,
Now-
the second one is, of course, I mean, that's the famous one, but yeah, the first one.
Now tell you what, let's do something for a sec, because for me, I remember when I heard Voodoo Child, and this is that, you know, this is the 15-minute one that you're talking about, and it's just that slow jam. It's amazing. Let's talk about some of Jimmy's feel, because to me, you know, that, like, just the... let me just play for a sec.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's that, like...
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I love that...
Yeah. I had never transcribed that song. There's a lot of songs I never liked. I never just obviously I transcribed a lot of songs, but there's a lot of more songs that I haven't transcribed that I maybe should do. But in a way, it's kind of weird. But I'm like, no, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
I understand. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. That's a big thing about all of this stuff. You know, I play a lot of Jeff Beck songs, and people sometimes look at me like, you know, that's cute. That's cute, kid. But, you know, and I'm like, no, I mean, trust me. I'm not trying to, you know, I bow to these guys.
Yeah,
but
of course.
It's not necessarily like space I'm not willing to go into or something. And you know, for like maybe any students out there's sake, I think I really personally encourage folks to kind of go into that territory. But you're absolutely right. This is some sacred ground we're touching here. You know?
Yeah.
But it's very cool to check out some of those licks and just get the feel of, you know, what he's doing. And it's man, if you just studied Jimmy for the rest of your life, there are just so many. Yeah, you'd be such an incredible player and musician. You know, are there now talking about, you know, just these little, like, you know, I did this. Just something like that. Are there little phrases and things of that nature, like when you're playing, could you demonstrate some sort of Jimmy influenced lines or some bluesy feeling stuff?
Yeah.
Maybe just talk a little bit about some techniques and things that go into it when you're playing.
Yeah, exactly. I don't. Obviously, Jimmy has been a huge inspiration for me. But when I listen to myself, I can hear that my timing and feel is completely different. To his. I wish my timing and feel was more like him, but I can't do it. I guess I've tried, but yeah. So I've been. I guess I'm trying to find myself more, you know, and find my way to play. His feel is very loose, I guess. It's also like B.B. King, you know. His timing and feel is also very loose. That's the word I come up with. It's very hard to describe when you it's hard to emulate. Do you say that?
Sure.
It's hard to copy. It's easy to copy, obviously, a guitarist who plays on the grid, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing wrong with that, you know. Like huge idol for me is Wayne Krantz. Do you know Wayne Krantz? Yeah.
Wayne's just amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
His grid is so tight.
It's so tight and groovy, you know. And
yeah.
I would say that, like, Jimi Hendrix timing and feel and Wayne Krantz timing and feel is completely two different things, you know.
Absolutely, sure.
And I'm not one of those two guys, but if I have to choose, like, I'm more like Wayne Krantz, that kind of, because that's in a way easier to achieve, or maybe like not maybe easy to achieve, but it's a clear goal to have. You know, I'm gonna get tight. I'm gonna get in the grid, you know, and stuff like that. You can practice that methodically, but I don't know how to really practice Jimi's feel, except of course learn, transcribe and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really, really hard.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Yeah. But if I'm gonna pick like a lick, it's kind of this lick that I think I got from Jimi, which Stevie also plays all the time. You know, like. That kind of stuff, you know.
Totally.
Yeah. So every time I play that, everyone says, "Oh, that's Stevie," but I got it actually from Jimi. Those kind of that. But then of course Stevie, he added that minor ninth. Then there you have Stevie.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Maybe like bands, I do these like. That's something from Stevie I got. No, Jimi Hendrix. You bend, and then you pick the other string like that, you know.
Right.
Stuff like that. Those kind of bands, yeah.
And, you know, just to hop on that for a sec,
Yeah.
because I mean, this is like, just this ballpark of licks is so cool. What seems like maybe it's been done before, and it's just, you know, oh, the kind of most classic lick of all time. It's like, you know, well, there's so much to mine with that one lick. And just something that I love is like, you know, you could, just the speed with which you play that.
Yeah, yeah.
Or, you know, just kind of right, like it's kind of muttered. It's like, yeah. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And
You know, that's
I think
sort of like,
when you play those, that's Jimi for me. Those pre-bands and you release the band. You did that several times there. That's Jimi for me.
totally.
I don't know if he was the first one with it. Maybe BB was. I don't know, but yeah, that's Jimi for me.
And you know, if anybody is at home and they're going, "Wow, hang on, just that's kind of crazy." I want to break this lick down super quickly, just because this like string bending thing is it's really hard. And if you can get it, if you can start to get this, it's just like a gateway into, you know, this is sort of like peeking into, you know, expanding maybe your pentatonic phrasing and bending and everything, getting more tenacity, and like there's like friction. You know, you can, if you really play it cleanly, and what I mean would be like, here's kind of clean. And now here's like a little friction, a little. And I'm exaggerating some of that, but you know, you can see. You know, a little loosey-goosey, like you're talking about, right?
It's loosey-goosey, yeah. And obviously,
and like comfortable. You know, he's not trying to post this on Instagram and have everybody go, "Oh, you're perfect, great, thanks, Jimi." He doesn't give a shit about any of that.
Yeah,
this is not that.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly. And those.
And so anyway, that's a great one little thing, is trying to like focus your being able to isolate each of these strings or kind of have them blend together is like a really great way to just take one thing that you're already kind of probably have played a lot. But if you're not doing that, that's like one great way to, you know, sneak some Jimi type of playing into your playing, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This, I think also, I think of B.B. King and Jimmy when you do this like 2 whole steps bend. Maybe that's Albert King, but you know, when you bend, you can bend the string and you can just keep bending it. Essentially, you can just keep bending it till the strings break. But the trick for me is to not stop bending, because then it will start to sound what do you say, sour? Yeah, not in tune. So like that. It's not like if you stop like that, it sounds horrible. So you don't need to, when you do these 2 whole step bends, you don't need to be like perfect. It doesn't need to be 2 whole steps. Like if I bend this note to, I don't know, to here, that's 2.5. No, what I'm talking about, like that's 1.5. But you can keep bending. But it's fretting out there. I can't hear it. I need to erase the action, I guess. But yeah, so the trick for me is keep bending, and it will not, will not sound sour. Do you say sour? What's the better word? I'm from Sweden.
Yeah, no, I know, I understand what you mean. You know, the pitchy.
The pitchy, yeah. Exactly. So, of course, when you bend like a whole step, you want to do that in pitch, you know. But if I can like keep bending that, like that, it doesn't matter if you hit the right note there. Just keep bending, and then you either stop the string, keep ringing, or you just play another note right after. That's a great trick to get away with those like 1.5 or 2 step bends.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's a high pay grade type of thing we're talking about. I mean, that's like intense stuff. And you know, another thing, just since we're on string bending now, is talking about Jimmy's vibrato.
Yeah.
Because he has such a, you know, I feel like part of his vibrato just has to do with the size of his hands.
Yeah. He
was just a big, strong dude. And so, you know, for him to go like it's just like, and I feel like he's doing this like he's rocking his whole hand. Like it's just not, you know, the guitar neck seems like it's just no match for his hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think, you know, he just has this like, he can just rock his hand, kind of like B.B. King does that, like, you know, butterfly, hummingbird, whatever you want to call, sort of like rocking the wrist fast vibrato, right?
His hands they were huge. His hands.
Yeah, totally. And then he's also got that whole thing where he's he's playing a righty guitar upside down. Now this is an interesting thing. This is a right-handed guitar, you know, but if you notice, and I don't know if you've ever done this.
No, I've never tried that.
Man, okay, so just a quick word like about the reverse headstock. So what's happening now is that my high E, my little string, is ending here as opposed to ending a good 3 inches further down.
Yeah, it's easier to bend.
I can bend those notes more than if I was playing, you know, with the headstock the other way. Yeah. And then you combine that with I'm playing nines.
Are you playing nines also?
I'm playing nines. And you know, it's funny. I've played tens for like 14, 15 years in a row or something. And I just, you know, tens. But then I started playing nines, especially like on this guitar. And I was like, oh, wow, you know, this feels really good. This is pretty cool. So between the reverse headstock giving me slightly easier string bending anyway because of the string ending here, and then playing slightly lighter strings, I feel like I've got a little bit of the Jimmy thing like with the setup. And it's not. I don't feel like that's a huge thing, but it's not. It's worth mentioning.
Yeah,
Um,
obviously. I mean,
it's yeah.
the size of the strings, obviously it affects how you play, but also, I mean, it affects the sound. I can actually prefer lighter gauge sound-wise because the bass gets tighter. Thicker strings, you get more low mid to my ears. But I prefer heavy strings. I like the feel of heavy strings because I can really pick hard. If you pick hard on light strings, they can go a little bit out of pitch.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't like that. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So man, that's cool. So you play with nines. Did Jimmy play with nines?
I think he played with lighter strings. I don't think he played like 10s. I think he played like 9 to 42 or, so the lighter in the like 70s and 80s, especially probably 60s too. I'm pretty sure that, playing 8s and 9s was like much more normal. There's this guy named Stevie Ray Vaughan who came around and changed the entire thing and made people, like 13s, like, who's doing that? So I'm pretty sure that back in the day, playing 8s and 9s was like more of that was common practice. That was kind of like playing 10s, 11s, or like not, and then you listen to people, especially like Billy Gibbons, or he's been playing 8s for a long time. He has such great tone. You can definitely get great tone with thinner strings.
Doesn't Yngwie Malmsteen also play with 8s? I may be wrong.
He's the other guy I was gonna say. And I guilty pleasure. I love me some Yngwie. I love Yngwie. I didn't quite get these the fret scalloped on this. I'm not quite gonna go that far, but I love Yngwie, and his tone. And he's playing a guitar. He plays a lot of axes that look exactly like this, pretty much.
Yes,
that's kind of like his thing.
Yes, I know.
Now let's see. I have a couple more questions that I wanted to. Okay. So now you mentioned playing like on the grid, and what we're really talking about by on the grid, for those of you who don't know at home, we mean time-wise.
Yeah.
Where how you feel your notes, how your rhythmic feel, basically like the world that your rhythmic feel is relating to the grid and relating to the time of whatever piece we're talking about. I'm curious because I know that you have a side of your playing for sure that is more, how do I say it? I mean, certainly jazz influenced, more harmonically sophisticated. You're throwing in things like augmented chords, diminished harmony, chromaticism. How does Jimmy sort of impact that side of your playing at all in any way?
No, not Jimmy. I don't hear that so much when I listen to him. That kind of vocabulary, that harmonic sophistication. Jimmy for me was more like just feel. I'm not saying jazz is not feel, so then don't get me wrong.
No, sure, understood.
But to learn how to play jazz, at least in the beginning, you have to use more your brain. You have to study theory. To be able to play Jimmy. That's another thing. That's more the feel thing, which is harder, at least for me, to study. Because it's not obvious what you should study if you're gonna learn to play like Jimmy. Of course, you need to transcribe him, as I said before. But what is it that makes Jimmy Jimmy? It's hard to describe that, but it's easier to just okay, I'm gonna study some jazz harmony. It's kind of obvious what you need to study. Buy a book, book, and read it and study it, learn, But so the guys that got me into jazz was probably, first it was Miles Davis when I heard Kind of Blue. So that's another guy, Jimmy and Miles Davis. Those are like two guys that I totally adore, and two guys that I haven't transcribed so much. Because I'm almost scared of transcribing their music, It's so holy for me. Obviously, I should do it, but So, but Miles Davis, a huge inspiration regarding jazz, but I don't consider myself a jazz player. Absolutely
Sure,
not.
sure.
I hate to study standards. That's it's so boring to me to, to study these songs, you know, and yeah, it's so boring. But I like more like to study the harmony and the vocabulary and try to insert that into my own playing, you know, and into the blues, for example. How do you insert those jazz licks into a standard 12-bar blues? But the other guy, obviously Robin Ford. I have to mention him.
Man.
Yeah. So when I heard him, I was kind of blown away because he's a sophisticated player to me, and he's like he's the expert of blending those two genres together, blues and jazz.
Absolutely. And you know, another name that came to mind when you mentioned Miles is Mike Stern.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Mike
just in
Stern.
Miles Davis's, you know, just pick the guitar players who played with Miles, like Schofield. I mean, you know, it's
Yeah. Schofield, let's see, you have Robin Ford, Schofield, we have more, but now I have a blank here. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of great guitarists who have played with Mice, obviously. Mice is, Mike Stern is like, he's obviously more jazz stuff than Robin Ford.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I was studying those guys and jazz harmony. You know, what's a 2/5? How do you insert that to a blues, for example? So if you have like your one chord, your A7, and you're gonna go to the 4 chord, you can of course insert a 2/5 there, like that. You know, that kind of stuff. And then if you want, when you play over those changes, or when you just play blues, you can insert those changes with your lines, of course. Like that, you know. Like that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's fun stuff. What more can you do? Like when you're on the 4 chord in the blues, obviously you can go up to a half step there to a diminished chord. So obviously you can play arpeggio from that, and then going back to the 1 chord. Or you can play the diminished scale. There's so much we can talk about if you want to get really nerdy here.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Now, that's awesome, man. And I'm curious if you could, because I love this sort of gateway from, you know, Hendrix, which is going to be more just generally simple, harmonically speaking, to kind of what we're talking about now, which is like playing some harmony, having some reflecting the chord changes that go by in your lead line and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Is there maybe a way that people out there who might be looking to inject some sort of jazz blues into their guitar playing, is there a good place you could steer people to sort of start with that? Maybe like a record or a player who's like, I have a couple ideas, but I wanted to ask you first. So is there like a good place to start for sort of jazzing up your blues playing?
Yeah, I think Robin Ford. I can't pick a specific album, but absolutely Robin Ford, because he's to me, he's the one who blends those two genres perfect without it getting, what's the word? Damn my English. He blends them smoothly, you know. It's just, it's not like he's play a blues lick. Oh, there's a jazz lick. Oh, that's a blues lick. Now that's a jazz lick. It's not like that. It's more like they just blend together perfect when you hear him play.
Yeah.
That's really hard, because when I play, it's more blues lick, jazz lick, blues lick, jazz lick, you know. But yeah, that's how I play.
Yeah, and you know, I was gonna say, when I was studying at Berkeley, I took the Grant Green lab. It was Grant Green and Kenny Burrell lab. And I really grew a lot from those, because it was this, you know, we did like Chitlin's Con Carne,
Oh, yeah.
Kenny Burrell tune, and it's just this like, oh, okay, hey, this is definitely a blues, but there's this element of like we're playing on a big body jazz guitar first of all,
Yeah.
and we're not going, this is not that,
No.
which is really good because I don't want to just. And when I take a solo on Chitlins Con Carne, I don't want to go. I don't want to do that at all. I really want to get the sensibility of guys like Grant Green and Kenny Burrell.
Yeah.
So Grant Green is just a great, like his feel, and he has such great. He has like a handful of licks that you'll just hear coming up over and over. And this is an older school player for sure. This is a different era kind of than Mike Stern and Robin Ford. But he's one of the guys to me that I really love. I also love like when Schofield plays with Medeski, Martin, and Wood. He does a lot of really cool like one chord funk vamps. And he takes it in and out. He's weaving this like, he'll just kind of play. He'll like, maybe it's like, and he'll come out and he's like, and he just kind of takes his time, and then he's doing all this, like a minute later, whoa, is he going to outer space after he sort of started in this funky bluesy zone. That's another just, if you guys haven't checked out like Schofield expanding a one chord vamp type of thing with Medeski, Martin Wood, Soul Live, Lettuce, that's another cool just like, I mean, those are maybe a handful of different, but these are all very cool influences and things to check out. But
yeah. And by the way,
I love that world of that stuff. It's so great.
Yeah. And those one chord, I just want to say this because those one chord vamps, that's one of the hardest things to play over, at least in my opinion. It's so freaking hard. It's easier to play over like Autumn Leaves or bossa nova with a lot of chords, whatever, all the things you are. In a way, that's easier. Because just playing over one chord, damn, after 20 seconds, it's kind of easy to get out. You don't have any ideas anymore what to play.
Yes.
So that's a true art for me to just play over one chord and make it interesting. And I think that was kind of when I started to listen to Miles Davis, kind of blue. That's kind of that stuff, that's the stuff I was drawn to. Regarding jazz, and that kind of modal stuff. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So yeah.
I love that too. I love it too, and I agree. It's funny, like, right, having some changes. Even a 12-bar blues, if it's a slow blues, it's like give me a 5 and a 4 chord. I need somewhere. I gotta have something going on.
Yeah,
it is a trick to playing a one chord vamp for a while and making it really cook is totally art. That's amazing to see guys really own it.
Like if you play blues, 12-bar blues, you can. It's easier, I would argue, to do it on the blues. You can like just pick a note and just bend it and do whatever. Do that for 12 bars, but it doesn't work as much on the model. Usually it's much harder to nail that kind of stuff to do. You can get away with that over blues.
Yeah, absolutely. One other player that, this is like, I'm not quite sure where Michael Landau fits into this discussion.
Who?
But Mike Landau.
Oh yeah.
Man, he's just one of the killing, especially like a Strat wielding, badass guitar player. He's definitely like a guitar player's guitar player.
Yeah.
But I've seen him a few times, including with Renegade. What was it, Renegade Creation?
I don't know.
His group with Robin Ford.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, man, I saw those guys. My mind was. I was just like, I couldn't believe they were incredible. But Landau actually has this specific version of Little Wing that's on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. I heard that. It's amazing. And the tone is
amazing.
freaking amazing.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah, yeah,
If you
it's
guys
so
haven't
good.
checked that out, wow, it's incredible. You know, it's just the tone, the feel. It's just
Yeah.
him by himself.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so good. He was here a couple of, I don't remember, but yeah, he was here in Stockholm not too long ago, but I missed him, sadly. So I never seen him play live, but yeah, I really want to.
So I saw,
I saw Robin Ford like now it's almost a year ago. He was here in Sweden, so that was nice because I never seen him before. So that's a
yeah.
check on Robin Ford at least. But yeah, Michael
Yeah,
Landau.
definitely. Definitely. Yeah. But yeah, that Little Wing is like, I mean, and there are a number of amazing videos and recordings of Landau, but since we're talking Jimmy and everything, you know, that one's like, wow, that's just amazing. The subtleties that he nails in this way that's like, manages to sound like him, you know, but it's just the best tip of the cap in this, like, I've got my way of doing it here, and it's pretty badass. Check it out. You know, it's amazing. So there's just
Yeah,
some great players to check out in this whole discussion. If you guys aren't familiar with, you know, Mike Stern, Michael Landau, Robin Ford, Schofield playing over one chord. You know, a lot of
yeah.
great stuff
And
there.
another, you have two Schofields. I'm Matt Schofield. I'm a huge fan of him also.
Totally, man. A great Strat player.
Yeah.
You know, one of the modern greats playing a Strat, like that two-rock sound, the smooth, beautiful, you know, it's like kind of this perfect, clean, but like got grit and bite and teeth in the tone, everything. Matt's such a great player too, and a great guy for sure, man.
Yeah. I saw him also in Denmark. It's not so far from here, from Sweden, obviously. So yeah, I saw him there a year ago. Super good. So yeah, that was also a check.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, well, tell you what, man, we're rounding third, headed for home, but I am curious. I'm really curious about just in general, you know, you have built up, and congratulations on building a really great online presence, and you know, you have a great following between YouTube, Instagram. You know, your social media presence is just really strong and wonderful. And yeah, seriously though, first of all, just congrats, because it's fantastic, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, and I'm curious, what's on the horizon for you? What do you have coming up, maybe the rest of this year, or just kind of like thinking, you know, maybe past this year too? Like, what's next for you in your life and in teaching and your Patreon? You know, what goals do you have next?
Well, obviously, I'm gonna record more lessons for my Patreon page. That's something I always do. It's a lot of etudes, you know, with tabs and like scale theory analysis of everything I play. So yeah, so you can really dig into the theory part of what I do. It's not just tabs. Yeah, it's much more than that. And obviously, I record lessons when I speak and talk and show stuff. So we'll do that. Last year, I released a song on Spotify, and I want obviously to do more of that stuff, you know, to write music and release it. But it's difficult because time is of essence, you know. It takes time to record videos for social media, you know, and record lessons, and then you have to have time to record your music and write the music, you know, obviously. So that's definitely something I want to do more. Record more of my music and release it. Hopefully soon. I can't say when, but I have songs that I have written, so I need to get a plan how to record it and stuff like that. I don't want to, if I'm gonna release music, I don't want to record everything at home, you know.
Sure.
I want to have a band and go into a professional studio. Nothing wrong with recording everything at home, but if you're gonna play like blues or like jazz, kind of feels weird to do that at your bedroom. Right. Programming the drums, I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe it would work if it was neo soul. You can program some beats, you know, and
right.
have some flashy jazz chords. But not for this kind of music, for blues and jazz. You need to have a the studio. Yeah, it's easier said than done. But yeah, hopefully in the future I can release more music.
That sounds awesome, man. And you know, it's funny, you're talking about time. My daughter is just about to be 11 months old.
Congrats.
And oh, thank you. Yeah, it's funny. It's the best thing, and it's definitely like, this is definitely kind of the hardest time I have ever experienced, finding time to make everything work, you know?
Yeah.
And so you said it, and I can relate 100%. And but it's great, you know, it's so cool. That's the thing about having the presence that you have, and having people respect you, look up to you for learning, and you know, like, you're an important person to so many people. So finding the time and simply, you know, caring enough about music and music education, the guitar, and, you know, getting the word out there, and just being a cool dude all the while. Like, it's most important when there's little time to still find a way to make this impact on people's lives in the way that, you know, that you're doing. So it's really cool to see it. And just want to point that out. I really appreciate that. That's a great way to wrap this up, because you know, as crazy as everything is in 2025, like, here we are with our guitars. We still love this, and there's still so many people to teach. And, you know, talking about somebody like we started with Jimi Hendrix, and, you know, all this cool stuff that we just talked about. I mean, life's too short to check it all out. You know, that's the bottom line, in the best way possible. So this is just really inspiring. And I hope that everybody out there who watched this, you know, picked up maybe a couple new licks, has some cool new artists to go check out, and just really enjoyed, you know, checking out Jules and Emanuel talk about a little our love for Jimi and other guys, you know. Emanuel, thanks so much for hanging today, man. I'd love to do this again sometime.
Yeah,
and just
absolutely.
Really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And remember, everybody, go check Emanuel's Patreon out. He's got so many lessons and everything on there. You're surely to just pick up a lot of great stuff. And yeah, man, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Catch you next time.
Yeah, nice. Cheers.
All right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for checking the video out. See you.